Okay, welcome to a special edition of The Right Call. Now, I have a guest here tonight. This is my nephew, Zeke Altman. So first, Zeke, let me say it is an honor to have you on the show. Welcome to the show.
It is an honor to be on the show, Mr. Mark Altman.
So now I know all our Right Call listeners are thinking, you're definitely going to talk about the 14-4 Celtics, right? No. We're definitely going to talk about the 17-3 Bruins, right? No. We're definitely going to talk about a major clash of the Patriots and Vikings tonight, but the Patriots in a playoff position currently. No. We're going to talk about something way more important than that. We're going to talk about the World Cup. That's really why I bought Zeke. Zeke is a soccer expert, and I want to bring. So Zeke, first of all, I mean, this is a special moment for me because in all the times we've done Right Call, I've said, God, I hope we can get a soccer expert on the show because we've really needed that.
Well, I want to thank, first of all, our studio audience for being
Absolutely.
here.
Yeah. We appreciate the studio audience for sure.
We have 10 people here to support us on our show.
Which is also because of soccer, right? Because we wouldn't normally have a studio audience.
It's the World Cup. It's the biggest sports event in the world.
Ever. Okay, so Zeke, I think we've got to start out, before we get to the big USA-England tilt, I think we've got to talk about one of the greatest upsets in soccer history in the World Cup. I mean, Saudi Arabia, they're kind of the Detroit Lions of World Cup soccer, are they not?
They are. You know, in the 2018 World Cup, Saudi Arabia lost to Russia in the opening match 5-0.
Right. So like that, like Saudi Arabia, like if the Detroit Lions upset, trying to think, the Chiefs, like on the big stage, we'd be like, wow. So Zeke, what was it about Messi being such a big choker?
I think there are two different points about this. Messi did score, so it was a penalty, but he did score. The game as a whole, Argentina doesn't have the support around Messi, and people compare Messi to Maradona, the old Argentina player, and people say that Maradona...
Diego
Maradona.
I'm all over soccer.
He was better because Maradona was able to carry a team, Messi not so much. And Saudi Arabia, their coach, he's a new coach. Back in 2014, in the African Championship, he led Zambia to a championship. Why the hell should Zambia be winning a championship?
Well, I got there's a couple of big points here, Zeke. First of all, before the World Cup started, I was listening to some soccer handicappers, and they were talking about how Zambia is a perennial threat on the World Cup stage.
That's interesting because they're not even in the World Cup.
Oh, well, I just any of those Z countries the threat or what? So Zeke, who's Pele playing for right now?
Pele would be an interesting fact about Pele. Actually, is USA's Tim Weah, who scored against Wales on Monday, the last player to score against Wales in a World Cup because Wales hasn't been in the World Cup for 54 years. Was Pele himself.
See, I got to be honest. I heard a rumor that Saudi Arabia had undergone an incredible training regimen to prepare for the World Cup. And I heard that no one in Saudi Arabia was even able to say the word oil while they were going on to this training regimen.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that was a big part of it.
Because Saudi Arabia, believe it or not, Saudi Arabia are trolled around the English Premier League. Their club, they actually own Manchester City, and they are trolled around England as Man City are trolled, being called the oil club, that.
Really?
And they live off oil.
See, I knew oil had something to do with it.
Yeah, exactly.
See, that was a great call by me right there.
Amazing call.
Right?
Amazing call.
See, let's talk about Ghana, because I know our listeners are really interested in Ghana. What just happened? That was a kind of a shocking ending to that Ghana matchup, and I couldn't sleep for the entire night.
Well, you couldn't sleep for the entire night, but for that first half, I think all of us were sleeping. The second half, 65th minute, Ronaldo got a questionable penalty. Then Ghana come back and score with Ayew, who ties it up. But
does Ayew only have vowels in his name?
No, there's actually a W at the end.
Okay, how do you spell it?
Ayew.
Ayew. Okay, not Ayuk.
Not Ayuk.
Okay, all right, keep going.
And then they brought Bruno Fernandes, their star midfielder, into a central role, which he was able to pick out the runners of João Felix and Rafael Leao to score goals 2 and 3. And then at the end, around the 95th minute, Ghana scored a surprising goal to make it 3-2 with a header. And then at the end, Diogo Costa, the goalie of Portugal, was just not paying attention. Didn't see Iñaki Williams in the goal. Iñaki Williams almost came and stole the ball from the goal.
Iñaki?
Iñaki, indeed.
How do you spell that?
I-N-Y-A-K-I.
Okay. Didn't Bruno Fernandes pitch for the Red Sox out of their bullpen this year? Wasn't there like a Bruno Fernandes kind of? Am I misremembering that?
That is actually the old Celtic center, Bruno
Oh,
Fernandes.
right. I knew there was a Bruno Fernandes. Is he? No, seriously. Is he? Because I know like Justin Jackson plays for the Celtics and the Chargers. So is it one of those deals?
It's very similar to Hunter Renfroe, the wide receiver for the Raiders, and the right fielder for the Brewers.
Right.
It seems weird how they go from sport to sport so fast.
Zeke, let's talk about the issue that's sweeping the nation in soccer, sweeping the world in soccer right now. And it's that bugaboo of guessing how much time's left in a soccer game when time runs out. So, Zeke, do we need to change that rule? Do you think it's important for us to know as fans to know how much time is actually left in the game?
Well, it's actually interesting that you talk about this, considering you haven't watched a probable minute of the World Cup.
I saw it today. I saw the big +7.
Oh,
in the Brazil game. I saw the +7.
It's interesting that you say this.
And do they just round up? If there's like 642, do they just call it 7? Like, what do they do?
This has actually been a big talking point in the World Cup.
I said that.
Yes.
Right, okay.
So in club soccer, between clubs like Man United, Real Madrid, when they play, the added time like 3 or 2 minutes. But FIFA has been like very important. It's been an emphasis for them to play full 90 minutes of soccer. If there's an injury that lasts 3 minutes, they add on those 3 minutes. So there's been an argument whether adding on 9 or 10 minutes at the end of a World Cup is good for the players. But that's what FIFA has been trying to do to get the full true 90 minutes of soccer.
Has there been any controversy around calling it FIFA?
FIFA?
Because it is actually spelled FIFA.
Really?
I mean, am I right? It's FIFA. FIFA would be F-E-E-F-A.
Let me ask you another.
Phonetically.
Let me ask you another question.
Okay.
Did you create FIFA?
I would have called, if it was me, I would have called it FIFA.
Really? I'm glad you didn't create it.
Now I have another important question for you. The question is, when you talk about the yellow cards and the red cards, what do you have to do in soccer to earn a red card? I'm not being funny. Is it you get it? Do you always have to get a yellow card to get a red card, or can they go right to the red card?
They can go right to the red card if it's egregious.
And what's an egregious?
So, fighting is egregious. Like punches, of course.
Do you think that would create more fans if there was more fighting in soccer?
I think it would create more American fans.
That's a great answer.
I think
it
would, definitely. But like a red card is if you put your foot up, your cleat up, and you cleated someone like in the face, or
what if it was accidental? Like you just foot kicked up in the air when you were trying to kick a ball or something.
If it was accidental, it would be a yellow card.
So it's judged the judgment of the referee.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
for sure.
How do you think the officiating is in soccer?
I think.
Did you ever watch a game and go, "That guy's a terrible official"?
Oh, of course.
No, seriously.
Of course, the USA Wales officials, terrible, awful.
How did the USA tied Wales?
Yep.
Wales?
Well, considering there are people like you in the USA, and that not that many people care about
Wales
soccer
isn't even respected in the United Kingdom. It's an afterthought.
The difference.
They talk about England. They talk about Ireland. Northern Ireland probably gets talked about more than Wales in the United Kingdom.
Well, Wales have everybody play soccer in Wales.
They don't even spell the country name right. They leave out the H. I don't even understand.
From my favorite YouTuber, Speed, he loves to. How did we lose? This is his quote. How did we tie an animal?
Is Wales higher rated than? I like that. I like Speed.
Who doesn't like Speed? World Cup.
See, I'm getting a little distracted because someone in our studio audience is showing off their guns, so I can't really focus right now.
Well, it is what it is.
All right, Zeke. So U.S. England. No, I do have one other very important question. In the Premier League, where does Ted Lasso's team stack up?
Ted Lasso's team. Considering he's a fictional character,
well,
I could not figure that out. Jamie Tart, Danny Rojas? I don't know.
But who's the guy that retired?
Roy Kent.
Roy Kent. I mean,
He's here.
if Roy Kent played in the U.S. team, I'd root for U.S.
You'd root for him?
I would.
Can you recite his famous chant? He's there. He's there.
It's not appropriate to say on the show, though, is it?
Freaking where?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's get to the USA-England game now.
Let's talk about that. So, Zeke, no, I'm not even trying to be funny. Outside of, say, like Argentina and Brazil, okay, would you say that England historically has the best soccer team, or am I wrong about that? Or is it more like Spain or Portugal or something like that?
Well, England have always been known for being a favorite and always choking.
Really?
Really. So they are like a Dallas Cowboys or a New York Yankees of late.
So what would the score be in the US-England game where you would be embarrassed for the United States? Like, what would the score have to be where like that was a pathetic effort?
4-0, 5-0.
So if they lost 3-0, you'd be like, well,
it's like unfortunate, but if you saw that they gave it their all, if you saw that, what I'm wanting for the USA is a 1-1.
See, one of the other issues that our fans wrote in about before the show is, in soccer, they call the number 0-0. And I know that's been a pressing issue for a lot of people because, like, in tennis, they call it love. In sports, other sports, they call it 0. Where did nil originate from? And then, is it awkward for a score to end 0-0? That feels like a weird say. Oh, the final score was 0-0.
Well, nil, I cannot tell you where that was originated
from. Well, I thought we had a soccer expert, but apparently doesn't know nil.
Wait, isn't this guy doing a soccer podcast but didn't know Zambia was not in the World Cup?
As I said, the Z countries confused me. It's just a lot.
What if I told you there was no Z countries in the World Cup? So that would.
All right, well, but wait. Isn't there a country in Africa? It's got two names. And in the last World Cup, it was there. I never heard of the country. Any idea what I'm talking about? I can't remember the name of the country right now.
There's Zambia.
Is Nigeria in the World Cup?
No.
They're not?
Nope. Zimbabwe?
Oh, Zimbabwe's in the World Cup?
No, they aren't. But I can tell you the World Cup.
Zaire?
No. There is Morocco, Cameroon, Tunisia, Senegal, Ghana. Those are the 5 African countries.
Wow, Senegal, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, their star player got them to the World Cup and then got injured right before.
So, Zeke, who is the key player for the United States when they take on the Brits?
When they take
Don't
on
I sound knowledgeable when I say the Brits? That's pretty good, right? Okay, go ahead.
The key player. I'm going to have to go with my main man, Brendan Aronson. Brendan Aronson, the attacking midfielder, didn't start against Wales, and that created a lot of anger within the USA fan base. But I think Brendan Aronson is going to be a key player, and he will start.
Zeke, you mentioned a few minutes ago that England has a reputation for choking, and I'd like to transition to your soccer team and the kid that choked in that final game. Oh, no. So I just wanted to ask, I'm at this game. I'm so excited to come see you play. The crowd is standing on their feet. Wolverine gets a penalty kick. And the kid, for those of you who weren't there, the kid not only missed it. If you're sitting at home listening to the game, your shot would have been closer than this kid. I mean, this shot went airmail into another city.
You might have been sitting at home watching it. It might have hit you.
Zeke, what goes on when a kid misses that badly, honestly?
Well, listen. I've taken a penalty before and I've missed it before. And
did you airmail it over the net?
I've actually taken 4 penalties in my life and I'm 3 for 4, and the one I missed was an airmail.
So what? No, I'm actually being really serious now. Why does that happen?
So the technique when you go in to take a penalty is you want to hit it hard to one side, but when you overthink it, you're like, oh, should I hit it hard up, top right, top left? And they're like, yes, I want to do the best penalty ever. So they just hit it hard as possible. And their nerves make them lean back, and when you lean back, the ball lifts in the air.
That's interesting.
But if you lean forward, the ball's never going to go lower.
So, Zeke, as a future captain for the Wolverine team, which soccer player as a leader do you emulate your captaincy next year? Who are we going to be looking to see you model your leadership style after?
I'm going to model my leadership style. I'm going to be my own type of leader. I don't need to be like a Roy Keane or like a Jason Veritek. I don't need to be like that.
Who's the first guy?
Roy Keane.
Who's Roy
He's
Keane?
the most famous captain in Premier League history.
I'm like Roy Keane.
He was known for like
Play for the Bruins?
he was known for like breaking people's legs and like showing passion that way.
Like breaking ankles, like that, like breaking legs.
No, like
No, legit breaking people's legs.
Breaking people's.
So he was looked up to for breaking people's legs.
Like showing passion, screaming at people. One of the most famous defenders of all time, who's on FC Barcelona, who just retired. He kicked them out of the club because they were too much of a wuss.
Wow. Zeke, have you ever gotten a red card?
Have I ever gotten a red card? I've gotten a yellow card on the JV level, but my varsity coach does not need to know that. So yeah.
Wow. So Zeke, before we wrap up, everybody wants to know, who do you think is going to win the World Cup and why?
Interesting. After Argentina choked, I don't think them. Germany choked against Japan, I don't think them. I think I'm going to have to go Spain. They won 7-0. They won 7-0 against Costa Rica. Their passing is so fluid. Their attackers
I love when you talk fluid passing.
Are so fluid, and their defense had practically nothing to do.
See, when people talk trash in the World Cup and they're playing different countries and they don't know their other language, like how does that even play out? Like when Serbia was playing Brazil today, because I was watching the Lions-Buffalo, but then we had the Serbia-Brazil game on, so I'm like, gosh, I think I should probably pay attention. So do the Brazilian people and Serbians like swearing at them in Serbian? Like, do they even know like when they're talking trash to each other?
Well, English is kind of a universal language, so that's probably what they're speaking.
Really?
Yeah.
You think when Brazil's playing Serbian, you think like Serbian people are speaking English?
Yeah.
Oh, for real?
To Serbia. To the Brazilian players.
Really?
I think so.
Did you know that? That really surprises me, legitimately.
Because if you're in like the Spanish league, like if you're Real Madrid playing Barcelona, and you're a Japanese player talking to a Spanish player, if you're in Spain, you're not going to go and speak English. You're going to speak Spanish.
Zeke, when you sit down to watch a soccer game, like any soccer game, I'm not being funny. I kind of being funny. When you sit down and watch a soccer game, do you go into watching the game hoping a goal is scored? Like, think about watching a baseball game and going, geez, I really hope a run or 2 runs are scored in this game. Like, if 3 goals are scored in a game, are you like, wow, that was high offensive output? Seriously.
3 goals is like an average.
3's the average?
Yeah, I'd say about 3. So I'd want like 6 or 7 would be amazing.
How many times in a soccer game do you think one of the 2 teams doesn't score at all? Like, I bet that happens a lot.
I'd say about 40% of the time.
That I would have thought more. Just only 40?
Yeah.
Studio audience, do you have any questions for the soccer experts? I don't know if you have any questions.
Plural.
No, yeah.
Expert, singular, expert.
Thank you. Oh, good point.
So, I'm just wondering, what prevented any of the Z teams from making the World Cup?
Yeah, what a phenomenal question.
What prevented the Z teams from making the
Prevented.
Prevented. Considering they probably they have 20 people in their country and they only farm, I don't think they have time to play soccer.
Wow. We're going to get letters. That was really, first of all, let's review the Z countries, because I know that's big for our listeners. Zambia, Zimbabwe, what else? Zaire. Are there any other Z countries? Zamibia.
Zambia.
Isn't Zamibia one too?
That's Namibia.
Oh, Namibia.
I already said Zambia.
Zambia.
I have a question. I have another question. Zeke.
We haven't figured out the Z answer yet.
Well.
Okay, we're going to go. Okay, go ahead.
The 2 most populated countries in the world, China and India, neither of them made it.
Yeah, that's, wow. What's up with that, Zeke?
It's interesting, those two. It's interesting. You'd expect China to make the World Cup. The last time they made it was 2014.
Wow.
And you'd expect them to make the World Cup, but they just don't like playing soccer.
Really? So it's just not popular in the country.
They love basketball. It's kind of same with India. They love cricket. They don't play any soccer. They're all into cricket. Similar to America, football, basketball, those are their things.
What about India?
India's cricket.
Oh, cricket. Zeke, if you were, is there a president of, and I don't even know if this is the right acronym, U.S. Soccer Federation? Is it like?
There is.
So is that the governing body, U.S. Soccer Federation?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were president of the U.S. Soccer Federation and you could make one move to increase interest of soccer in this country, it could be a rule change, it could be anything, what would you do? If you were in charge, what would you do to increase soccer interest in the country?
I think you need money.
Okay, let's assume you have the money.
Assume I have the money?
Yeah, so what would you do with the money?
Put more investment into the whole soccer, like, academies. They have college soccer. I think you need to get rid of that because the whole world does not use college soccer. They use academies for their clubs. Advance the MLS. Make advertising.
But the academies are they're not part of an education system, though, right?
You can make it part of that. The Manchester United Academy, you go to school, then go to practice.
Oh, so isn't that a form of college, though?
It's a form of education, but it's more centered around soccer. So you need to advance the clubs first of all, so those clubs can get money and advertise big players to come to those clubs, make the MLS a big thing, which is starting to be because more players are starting to go to those clubs. And then you need to use that money and develop an academy, develop those certain things, so people can be more into that stuff and want to fight for those academy spots. Right now, you can just pay money to get in the academy, and it's pay to win.
Okay, final question. I have maintained for years and years and years that soccer fans like to say, well, soccer is the number one sport in the world. And I have maintained that a big reason, in my opinion, soccer is the number one sport in the world is because the only piece of equipment you essentially need is a soccer ball. It is the most inexpensive sport. So in countries, especially in Africa where soccer is really big, as an example, you don't need money. Like, you just need a soccer ball. So I'm curious, like, I'm actually being serious about this. You know, do you believe that is an integral piece of soccer being the number one, that it is inexpensive and it's so accessible for so many people, and that's a big part of the reason it's so popular?
I think it's a great biggest reason probably, and I think basketball is probably number two because basketball courts are starting to get built around the world more, and that's probably a big reason why basketball is the number two. And Formula One is another thing. You just need a car, which everyone has to get places. Most people, and if you race those cars, that's.
Do you know what
Formula
NASCAR
One.
stands for?
No, but I know it's irrelevant around the world.
I can tell you.
What?
Non-athletic sports centered around rednecks. Cole, go ahead.
So I have a question. So football, like soccer, only takes a ball. You need to set up.
You need
somewhere-
goalposts.
No, you don't.
Well, you don't technically. I guess you could play without goalposts.
So all you need is really a ball. So why isn't that as popular in other countries as soccer?
Because what else do you need? What else does it require? You require to get tackled, and that hurts. That is painful. There's no pain from playing soccer.
But you're triggering me now with that question. You want to know why? Because I would like our name back. I don't like how football is reflective of two sports.
No, it's football and football.
Well, yeah. Should we rename American football so there's no conflict here?
Yes, because that was the second one.
Because it's football. So what should we call the NFL now?
Tackle ball.
Tackle ball?
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions out of the studio audience?
I'd like to hear your prediction for the winner of this year's World Cup.
Well, I got to tell you.
Let me guess. It's Jamaica.
I got to tell you. Nope, you're not going to trick me. I got to tell you. That was a weak attempt. Because if you were going to try to name a country like a Z country like you did before, you got to come up with something. If it was bobsledding, I think they have a shot. So,
Nice movie reference.
yep. No, Jamaica bobsled was a real deal. You know what, Zeke? I have to tell you that is Portugal still alive?
Of course, they won.
still alive?
They beat Ghana today.
I'm going with Portugal.
Is that because your ex-girl's from Portugal?
Nope. I'm going with Portugal. I think that Portugal, I just feel like something is more. Spain, I like, but I'm afraid some of the players might get injured in the running of the bulls in Pamplona. So I think Portugal may have it. I also think Wales, this could be their year. This
Really?
could be their time.
Really?
Yep,
It's a
Wales.
very unpopular opinion.
The Cardiffians are going to be crazy if they win, the Cardiffians.
Interesting. Also, the mermaids will be too.
What? Oh, good. Okay, final thought. We got to end the right call. Zeke, I know you are an enormous Bob Williams fan, and so we've got to end with this. And I'm inviting our studio audience to be involved with this question. What do you think the over-under is in how many games it takes Bob to get hurt again once he comes back? I'm going to go with 5. And by the way, Zeke, before you even answer, Cole in the studio audience is my witness, and you'll appreciate this, Zeke.
Even if he does get injured in 2 games,
no.
we need to care for our players more, especially ones named Robert Williams.
Listen, and I don't know, maybe it's the name Williams, but I swear to God, Cole is my witness. When Mike Williams was playing the other night for the Chargers, he came in the game, and I said, Cole, what do you think? You think he gets hurt by halftime? First play, he gets hurt. I'm like, that guy's a walking injury. I think it's the name Williams. I think it might be the name Williams.
I don't think so. Eric Williams, number 55 of the Celtics.
Oh, what a disappointment. Oh, God. That wasn't that one, like, was he part of the Walter McCarty teams? Oh, those teams used to just annoy the daylights out of me. Tommy Heinsohn would make Walter McCarty and Eric Williams like these role player guys that Celtics liked. I'm like, ugh.
Well, at least there's Grant Williams to fix your dad.
Oh, another Williams issue. Oh, my God. Big mouth Grant. All right, well, Zeke, not only are you welcome on the right call anytime, but I got to tell you, 4 years from now when soccer becomes relevant again,
and it will be in the
I can't wait to bring you back in 4 years.
The World Cup will be in the USA at that time.
Actually, you may not even come back in 4 years. You may be a broadcaster, a national broadcaster in college. You may be big time for us by then.
I don't know. Maybe.
Right?
Maybe.
All right. Zeke Altman, it's a pleasure to have you on the call. For Zeke Altman, I'm Mark Altman. We'll see you next time.